Hello, everyone. It's Tara Joe with the Love Your Journey podcast. And today I have a special guest, which I'm sure Bailey is really excited about as well. Jaime Breeze is her beautiful name. And she's actually somebody that I have met just through the platform of Instagram and through my weaving of animal communication I've done over the years. It's not something I talk about a lot anymore, but it is something I do and something I offer my current clients that they need help with their animals. But Jaime is known as a pet psychic medium, and I've seen her do some really beautiful work. But what really blew my mind, I think it was last year when her home got lost in the Jasper wildfires. And so this was a real calling from above that I wanted to have her on the podcast today. We don't pre-plan this, I never do, but there feels like a real calling to have this story come out and be heard and to have this experience as somebody like her to tell us all what it's like to navigate that and some of the things that maybe she's gone through, what she's needing to do, what that looks like to rebuild. And so we're just going to have this really, you know, conversation like we're having coffee together and have you be a part of it, all the listeners. So welcome, Jaime. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me on, Tara Jo.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us, number one, just introduce yourself a little bit, who you are, where you are, what you do, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, so hello everyone. As Tara mentioned, I'm Jaime Breeze, pet psychic medium. I have lived in Jasper, Alberta, in the northern Canadian Rockies for 23 years. Next month. Oh my gosh, 23 years. And I'm currently at my mother-in-law's condo because my house burned down.
Yeah. Yeah. What what did that what did that feel like? I mean, tell me how that went. Was the fires going on for a while? Did it seem really
Okay.
quick? Like how did that, do you want to just go there? I know
Yeah,
you invited that
so
in. So let's just talk about it.
so it was July 2024. It was really hot leading up to it. And I remember things swelling, like my gate went shut, and I was like, oh my God, it's swollen. Like it's 40 degrees and it's dry outside. And I didn't think anything of it. But a week before the fire hit, I just had a lot of anxiety and I couldn't
Mm.
figure out why. And I had a lot of anxiety about my truck too. And I just kept checking the tires, like, and I was paranoid. And I was like, am I going to get in a car accident or something? And like, I just couldn't shake this feeling. And then I kept
Yeah.
hearing, be grateful for what you have, be grateful for what you have. And I kept hearing that. And
Mm.
you just kind of push things to the side sometimes. And the one time I was like, well, I am grateful for what I have. Like I really like my things. Like I bought stuff from travels around the world. Like these things were important to me, right? So and it was my first home I ever bought. And, I waitressed for 27 years to save up for my home. And living in Jasper is not cheap. So my partner, him and I, we saved a lot, bought a home, but we put 20% down and we still had to have a cosigner. Like it's not a cheap place to live.
Yeah.
So I was proud, I was proud of what
Yeah.
I had.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so I kept hearing, be grateful for what you have. And I was going to bed early the one evening. It was July 22nd. I had a big day. I had early clients in the morning. And I was just like, I just cannot wait to get to bed. And I went to bed, I think at 6, or I was like going to try and go to sleep at 6. And I had two girls renting out our basement. Um, and the one texted me and she's like, did you hear there's a fire at Snaring, which is a campground kind of east of here? And I was like, no. And then my friend who used to live in Jasper from Winnipeg texted me and she's like, did you hear there's a fire at Wabasso, which is a campground south of here? And I'm like,
Mm.
no. And I guess a friend of hers was camping down there and posted a video on his Facebook, and she saw it. But I was like, what are the odds? Like, I learned about a fire in my town from someone in
Yeah.
Winnipeg. So we have a fire starting east and a fire starting south. And there's only three roads into Jasper: east, south, and west, right?
Yeah.
But I had this like, I was like, oh man, I was just going to go to sleep. I was like, okay, can anyone just wake me up if something happens? And the girls in the basement were like, Jamie, you're crazy. And they started panicking. And then I just had this like really like neutral stance about everything. And it was like just a wave of calmness. And so I sat up with them and we were sitting in my living room, and I just saw like trailers of horses from the stables being
Mm,
rushed out of town, and RVs driving quickly out of town. And my friend texted me. She's like, "I'm at the gas station. I'm the like 40th car in line. I'm trying to fill up." I was like, "Oh my gosh." And then um, we we heard rumors that we were going to be evacuated. And we just kind of thought, well, they're evacuating us because the town is full of tourists. It's busy
yeah.
season, and we only have technically one highway that's safe to travel on right now. So they're probably just going to get us, get everyone out just because it's for safety purposes and like common sense kind of thing, right? So then we got the alarm to evacuate on our phone. And honestly, like, I feel like this is the best place. Jasper is the best place on earth to live. Um, I feel that because we're a national park, that we are protected. I thought that nothing could happen to us. I never thought our bubble could burst.
Mm,
Um, and so I called my friend to make sure she got the alert, and her phone was off. And I was like, you know what? She's probably putting her babies to bed, so she doesn't have her phone on. And I said to my partner, Colin, I'm like, we can't leave her because her husband was actually just flew to Australia to visit his son. And I'm like, we can't leave her alone to evacuate with two children. So we're like, we have to go to her house. So I didn't pack anything. I left in my pajamas, and it was
okay.
40 degrees outside. So I didn't even bring a sweater. I brought my sandals. I literally walked out the door with a bottle of wine and my cat and my dog.
Mm,
And my husband brought our firebox. Like, we've always had a firebox, like with passports and water and dog food and cat food and stuff like that, right? And we're
yeah.
like, we'll be back in the morning or maybe 2 days. Oh, I
Yeah.
did bring my bathing suit because it was hot. And I was like, we'll probably be camping by the river, and then
Right.
in a few hours, a couple days, we'll get back home. So we go to my friend's house. The streets are a little crazy. Sure enough, I was correct. Her phone was off because she was putting the boys down. And as I walked into her house, another alarm came off saying, like, now, get out now. And so I'm like, Julia, we gotta go. And so I'm ripping her baby like out of his crib. And like, I don't know how to put a baby in a car seat because I've never had a human child. And we're just shoving her in the car.
Yeah.
But by the time that whole process happened, gridlock traffic everywhere. It
Oh,
took us it took us 7 hours to drive 75 kilometers. But
wow.
what's crazy too in this moment is ash fire is starting to fall. And we got another alert on the phone saying the fire is going to hit town in 5 hours. Well, we're stuck in traffic. And then it's like, okay, well, we haven't moved in an hour. We haven't moved in 2 hours. We haven't moved in 3 hours. And so I texted my mom, who lives in Ontario. I knew she wouldn't get it till the morning. And I didn't even know she would get it because all the cell services were out. I'm like, you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to see something really bad on the news, but just know that we will be okay. I will run if I have to, because
Yeah.
we thought it was going to be like Lahaina, when
Yeah.
Lahaina burned and everyone was stuck in traffic and people died. And then it's like we have 2 hours until the fire's going to hit. Like, and then we got another alert saying, oops, we sent the wrong alert. it was supposed to say you have to be out within 5 hours. So that
Oh
calmed
my
everyone a bit down, but I
gosh.
was just like, way to go. Like whoever typed that was probably like got in so much trouble. Like people were panicking. But
Oh,
again, I just had this
yeah.
calmness on me. I don't know why. So anyway, we went west. There's a village 75 kilometers west where one of my good friends lives. So a bunch of us went to her
Can I pause
place.
you for a second?
Yeah.
What did it feel like in the vehicle when you saw the ash falling and then you hear like the first text go through to say that time is near? What did that feel like? Like,
Well,
what
that's the
was the
thing. Like,
difference between you and your partner in terms of the experience in your nervous system? Like, because you said you were eerily calm, but it was more
yeah,
like, was it like a numb feeling or was
yeah,
it like
yeah, I
almost
think
like a
so.
like,
I
yeah.
think I was numb. But so because we're stuck in traffic, I was
Mm,
like, should I go get my truck? And Colin was like, no, 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 no. Like he seemed a little panic. He's like, no, I really want to stay together. But what people would do is leave their car and run home and grab stuff, right? Because you're not
oh,
moving anywhere. So he
yeah,
left for like, I don't know, at 45 minutes to grab stuff from home because I forgot like a medication I had. And I was like, you know what, grab me
yeah.
a pillow, you know? Um, and I didn't know this until months later, but when he went back, he had a bit of a cry at the house and said goodbye to it. And I
Oh,
didn't know that. And because we had a metal roof, we're in a national park, we're protected. The government protects us. Like, um, but it was strange. It looked like an apocalypse.
mhm.
Um, yeah, it looked like an apocalypse happening. And people are like skateboarding past. And of course, everyone. I'm like, where are you going? They're like, we're skateboarding home to grab stuff. Like, I need a snack, I need a drink, like all this stuff. So I don't know. Like, yeah, and there was kids on my end of town. There was kids playing hide and go seek while their parents were waiting in the traffic, right? Like they're
That
hiding
is wild.
all this stuff. But apparently, on the other end of town, it was full blown panic. So
Yeah.
I didn't see that part, but I guess I was on the calm side of town. I don't know. But
If there is if there is a calm side of town as your town's on
Yeah.
fire,
Yeah,
really,
but
right?
everyone was like orderly. Everyone was orderly. No one was like trying to butt in, running people off the road. It was orderly on our end. I heard recent stories that it wasn't on the other end. We had a sheriff like directing traffic. So I think maybe
Yeah.
that helped on our end, but yeah, so I don't know if that answered to your question. I
Well, from I'm going to tell you my experience of, all the friends that I have that live in Banff and Canmore and all the people that love to hike in nature, what we were observing from just, Instagram, Facebook, the news channel is we were just all in so much shock for all of you. It was actually really incredible.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
And the
so
animals were the like for me, that's where I was just, I love humans, don't get me wrong. Now it sounds like I not okay with the human soul, but it was really um, for those that are listening to this, like Jasper is a really important national park here in Canada, and it's in the province that I live in. And so it is something that everybody knows here. And so it was quite shocking to all of us to see that go on and to see all of you go through that.
yeah, but again, we didn't think it was going to hit town. We just thought it was going to be
Yeah.
a couple of small fires that were going to be put out. So, yeah, if you guys were watching on TV, we didn't have any obviously we couldn't watch it. We were evacuating.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got to my friend's place and 14 of us, four dogs and five cats, I think it was, stayed at her trailer. Thankfully she gave me a private room for my cat. But like my friends were sleeping in the ditches, all that stuff, because my cat's never left the home, right? She's a house cat. So I was
Yeah.
like paranoid, and she knows how much I love my babies, are part of my family, and I need my cat protected. So she was kind and gave me a room, and then my friend with the two kids had a room. Everyone else, it was a free for all. So the next day it was kind of fine. Like I was like, okay, whatever, well, I guess we're here for a couple days, not a big deal. We'll go to the lake, all that stuff. I have clients in the morning. I worked with 3 clients in a car, did readings in a car. And when I finished my last client, it was like someone punched me in the stomach. I was like, I don't have a good feeling. And I started crying. And my sister-in-law, she was there. She came up. She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I don't feel good. I really don't feel good. I have a really bad feeling today. I'm scared. I'm really scared." And I just couldn't shake it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Ugh, what? Why? I don't like this feeling. I don't like this feeling." So anyway, would there was a pub or a brewery. So everyone would kind of congregate in this small town at the one bar, right? And I needed a sense of community, and half of Jasper was there. So I go there. My Colin, he felt like he just needed to stay put at the trailer. It was only a 3-minute walk from where we were. Um, and then I got a text message from my friend, and she said, "This is bad. The gas station just exploded." And I just dropped my phone and started screaming. And then I remember the next table over started screaming, and then the table over there started screaming, and the table behind me started screaming, and then screaming. Everyone's getting this text message. I have goosebumps saying it. And it was just fear just washed through that pub, you know? Everyone was just crying and screaming. And so I ran back to the trailer. I was like, "Colin, you guys, the gas station just exploded. The gas station just exploded." And then we heard first responders were being taken out. And I was like, well, like, I know what a first responder was, but I was like, "What's a first responder?" I'm Googling, "What's a first responder? What's a first responder? This can't mean firemen and policemen and all this stuff." I was like, okay, maybe it's the lady who stayed in town to feed everyone. Was she a first responder?
Yeah.
If the sandwich lady's going, that's okay. I don't want the firemen to go. I don't want the police to go. I don't want anyone to go. And of course, first responders are firefighters, blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah.
now they're being taken out, and it's a free for all. And I was just in shock. Um, you don't know what to do. You're helpless and hopeless, and um, no one's there to provide updates now. Um,
Wow.
then, so my friend who was texting me, she's friends with one of the firefighters, so that's why we were kind of working through him, right? Um, but I can't remember exactly how it happened because the first responders were out, but then I think they got pulled back or something. Um, and we were told the whole town was gone. I
Mm.
fainted. Um,
Mm.
I the fear of your livelihood just being ripped away from you, it takes your breath away.
Yeah.
Um, what you lost everything, like, and I'm not talking about your clothes or your
Yeah.
bed, or I'm talking about that bird I talk to every day, or that walk I do with my dog that is so special, or my favorite tree on that
Yeah.
path. Everything is gone. It's like been obliterated. My body went into convulsions. I couldn't stop shaking. My
Mm.
friend physically had to lie on me to try and calm my body down.
Mm.
The fear was astronomical. I can't even explain it. I was trying to explain it to someone recently, and she was like, that's like trauma." So it just felt like I was in a dark tunnel, and
Yeah.
my eyes were big and I couldn't see straight, and I was in a dark tunnel and nothing seemed real. Like I remember looking at Colin and he didn't even seem like real to me. And she's like, "Yeah, that's trauma. Like when you go through
It's
something
almost
severe,
like
that's
disassociating, right? It's like,
disassociation." Yes,
yeah.
yes,
And
exactly, exactly.
it feels like this. I mean, really the words that are coming to me when you're explaining this is like this, the biggest fear of the unknown is this. Like your whole experience of what life was ripped away from all of you,
and
right?
and
It's not a
like
home, it's like your whole, it's an experience, it's your
your
experience of living, right?
your essence of where you live,
Yeah.
your neighbors, your friends, family.
Yeah.
um where do you go from here? I
Yeah.
know it's not comparable, but I think about this all the time. Uh, you know People during World War II, like when Nazi Germany like went to villages and shoot everyone from their homes and destroyed them, like, again, I know it's not comparable to what they went through, but I got a sense of the
Yeah.
essence of that, like losing your
Yeah.
home and your community and your village and your,
In
certain
a
important.
shocking way. Like it's not even
Yeah,
like, oh, we're planning this. This is
yeah,
like,
it's
oh, I wanted
shock.
to go to bed and now I can't. And now life has changed in a split second, even though it was
Yes,
hours, but it feels
yes.
like that, right?
Yes. And then, so that
Yeah.
night was awful. That was the
Oh,
worst night of my life. I I was so sick with fear, and terror.
yeah.
Let's put it that way, terror. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what now? And so anyway, um, fast forward to the morning, um, which I wasn't sure if I'd even make it through the night. Um, it- for yeah, fast forward to the morning, and my friend, who was friends with that firefighter, texted me a picture of a hotel in town. And she's like, well, at least we know we have a place to go for a glass of wine. And I was like, what the hell? There's a hotel standing. There's a hotel
Mm.
standing.
So interesting, hey?
And then I got another picture from her of the main street. Holy shit. Sorry. I don't know if I can swear on here.
Yeah, you
The
can.
main street. I'm like, oh my God. But there's rubble, like buildings collapsed and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Not the whole town is gone. We can maybe live. We
Yeah.
can maybe get our lives back. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's not all lost.
Gone.
It's not all gone. Um, so it gives you a little spark back, like, oh my God, and I ran out and showed everyone these pictures. I'm like, you guys, look, the whole town's not gone. And so then maps started coming out, maps of red and green. Red is bad, green is good. And it's like,
Mm.
so you could see what areas were impacted.
Mm.
My house was green. And so is my friend who had the boys that I evacuated. Her house was green. And we're like, oh my God, did our houses survive? Oh, this can't be. Like, how lucky would ours be, the only ones on that street that
Yeah.
survived? Right. And so all day we were kind of on edge. We're like, is it true? Is it true? Like, I'm asking my friend to ask her firefighter friend, can he drive by and take a video for me? Is it true? Is it true? Is it true? And then about 5 p.m., I got the message that my house was gone. The
Oh.
green mark was actually supposed to be for the house across the street. And same with my friend with the two boys. The green mark was supposed to be across the street from her.
Mm.
So I found out our house was gone, and I just started bawling and screaming. And um because again, you go through it again, like the fear of, now what? Now
Yeah.
what? Everything is gone. I have a bathing suit and a bottle of wine. That's all I have. And my pajamas that I was wearing because I was going to
Yeah.
bed early that night. Um, so, and you're probably wondering why I
Mm.
didn't drink the wine. I'm a big wine person because I needed to keep my head clear as much as possible.
Mm.
Right. Um, so yeah, we found out the house was gone. my poor brother and my dad, like my brother was in Mexico City, my family's in Ontario, and they were on a Zoom call together trying to figure out the wind directions of that day, and like if the fire came up here and the wind was blowing this way, would have missed my house. Like, and he was
Yeah.
looking on Google Maps. He's like, her house is still standing. Like my poor family, like
Aw.
was going through it all too, right? Like my mom,
Yeah.
my mom probably has cried more than I have, and I'm like, Mom, you just can't. Like, we got to continue to live. Anyway, but yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a good reminder that when people go through trauma of any kind, it also affects everyone around us. Like, that's the truth, right? So we can, as the observers who are observing, we can observe it in our own, it can impact us in a way. And that's also my belief, anyways, is to not take that away from anybody else experiencing what that's bringing up for them, because it can tie into a past trauma for themselves. So whether it's somebody watching on TV, whether it's your neighbor next door, whether it's somebody that was in that pub with you guys, just observing the emotional reactions, everybody's experiencing something that day, and it's quite a magnitude of emotion that comes through that. And also, I imagine as you're navigating this aftermath of it, there's so much in that as well. So what has happened since, like, at what point were you able to go back to your land?
To see, and that was the hardest. Okay, so we weren't allowed for weeks. So we drove to Ontario, which is so the hardest part for me was because we couldn't come down the main highway and go west or east Ontario, right? We had to go around, like make a
Yeah.
big detour and then come back up and cross at Lake Louise. So we filled up in gas in Lake Louise. And that was one of the worst moments for me is I was so close to home. I could see the signs for Jasper and I wasn't allowed to go home. And I was just
Mm,
sobbing so much in that
yeah.
gas station. I puked in the bathroom from stress and I was just sobbing in the bathroom saying, I just want to go home. I want to go home. I sounded like a child. But the hardest thought was my land, exactly like you said, my land. And so that was really hard moving further and further away from it when we went to Ontario. So we were there for a month and then we came back. And then, oh, so I have to tell you this one story though. So when we were in Revelstoke, it was the first hotel night we had after leaving my friend's trailer. I always called my cat Moon Kitty. It's her nickname because she leaves her body, she astral travels. I don't know where she goes, the moon, the stars, whatever. And everyone knows this about her. So for years, her name has been Moon Kitty. Her real name's Lily, but she goes by Moon Kitty. And we're in Revelstoke, and I'm crying and in the hotel room, and I was like, "Hey, good night, Moon Kitty." And Tara Joe, I know I'm an animal communicator, but this still shocks me.
Yeah.
Loud as clear as day, I hear, "I'm Earth Kitty now." And Lily, and I'm getting goosebumps, Lily showed me a map of Canada and us driving all the way across Canada to my parents' house. And
Oh.
I just started laughing and screaming of joy. I'm like, "Oh my God, she's Earth Kitty now." And it's funny because my dog Breeze responded to that immediately. So Breeze, like Lily must have told Breeze earlier, "I'm Earth Kitty now, and I'm gonna stay here and
Well, what
work."
I'm what I'm getting is, like, she's like, well, yeah, I had to ground I had to ground her down. Like, so, when we have that experience of trauma, we don't feel in our bodies at all. Like, at all. That's why often we can see things from above, like as if we're observing the experience. It's kind of a really wild thing. So that's what I get from Moon Kitty, is that, yeah, she had to become Earth in order for you to come back down to life, right? To come
I
back.
love it. And you know
Yeah.
what? I don't think she's been traveling since this. Like she's solid here.
Well, she has a job now. Like,
Yeah.
this is her job, is for you to stay
Yeah.
rooted, right? No matter where you are, because that's the thing.
And
Your home is where you are, right?
so
Right?
her being a house cat, going on this horrible experience, massive road trip across Canada, she's been our rock. She embraced hotels, she embraced everything. And we were worried about
Well,
her.
she's
Like,
she's saying to me it's luxurious to be on this road trip with you guys, is what she's saying.
I love
So
it.
whatever that means, like, she's loving it. She actually is really loving it. So, which
Good.
is
I
kind of
can tell
cool.
she's been enjoying it.
Yeah.
But to swing back around to the question you asked for me, what's it been like since, it's been awful. It's been
Yeah.
awful. The trauma subsided. But there's roller coasters of ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And it's almost like I remember saying, like, there's just has never been any good news. Like you think,
Mm,
okay, I'm gonna rebuild my home because I have good insurance policy. So this should be easy. Oh, no, blah, blah, blah. There's this step, there's this step, this step. And no, you can't do that. You can't do this. It's just been mind blowing how awful
yeah.
this experience is.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
s-
roller
you
coaster.
know, and I know, okay, so I'm gonna tell you why I think I was supposed to bring you on here for the first. I'm gonna tell you this in this moment is that you mentioned July 22nd. That was my brother's birthday. So I don't know if you know this, but my brother passed away over a year ago and he
Oh,
had Down syndrome. And we had to deal with a lot of trauma in his last couple of years of him not being treated fairly, really unfair stuff. And the description you're saying, like nothing good, like there's no good news ever. That is exactly how I felt navigating advocacy for him. And then I got hit by a car and had a concussion. And then it was just like it was like that. There it's just like constant. And I used to say this is such a mind fuck shit show experience. But if I can offer something here, what I said all along was, I don't know why this is happening, but I know I'll find out. Because I always know that at the end of all of this, a gift is going to be there. I know that because I've gone through so many transitions in my life that have been very, very hard, very similar to what you're describing. And it's very hard when you're going through that. And when somebody's in the midst of trauma, I would never say that to them. I would never say, like, the moment the fire was burning, hey, don't worry, there'll be a gift for you at the end of this. But I'm saying this to you now because there's some spaciousness that if you can find something to root into, to know that you've gone through really hard things in your life before, that what if this is even better for you? What if there is
oh, I
something
know.
even better
I
for you?
know. I cannot wait to sit on my new porch with a glass of
Yeah.
wine and being like, I'm glad the fire happened because this,
Yeah.
this, and this. I'm waiting for that day.
But right
Like,
now it feels still so gross. I get it. Like I really
oh,
get it. So
oh,
how are people helping? Like, is there fundraisers? Is there anything that you have going that people, when they're hearing this story, want to support you and your animals and the community? Is there anything that an organization has put forth or anything else that you want to talk about that we can give voice to?
I mean,
Do you
if
know?
anyone does want to help our community, I know the Jasper Crisis Team really needs some funding, or the Jasper Food Bank.
Hmm.
That those would be good places to donate to. Um, I do have to say Red Cross has been really good. We heard horror stories at the beginning, like, don't donate to Red Cross, they take all the money. But honestly, like,
Well, I
that
worked for
hasn't.
them.
Do
I
you
worked for
really?
them. I worked for them years and years ago, like years ago in my as a high school and also in university. They do a lot of good work.
They've really come through for our community, like with a lot of small business grants. Um,
Oh, awesome.
they're actually the property managers for our interim housing here. We've got a bunch of trailers brought in, so people can live, and they're the property managers there. Yeah, they've really shone. And I was told by so many people, like, just I've heard bad stories, like, all this stuff, but I feel they've really helped. They've really helped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Uh,
I
um
mean that's what they're there for. The Red Cross, just from what I know, again, I have not had associations with the Red Cross for decades, but when I was involved with them as a volunteer as well as staff, we were really part of a community just within our organization about trying to help others, whether it's international help or in our community, and everybody would be a part of it. It was quite um, a family knit community is how it felt for me when I worked for them, which is why I really loved it. So, but I've never been in a crisis situation where I've had to use them. So, and I think too, sometimes just even in what I've observed through clients and things like that, when people are going through trauma, what they're seeing in the lens of what the help and the support's coming in can feel different based on what their lens of experience is at the time. So whether that's truly not the help they were given just due to what they were feeling in their body and their nervous system, or was it really truly not help? I don't know. But just to kind of say that too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I've been really happy with their support.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it's a really hard journey and trying to move
Yeah.
forward and stay positive. And I feel I was given an out by God, the
Mhm.
spirit world. One morning I was in bed number God knows what.
Wow.
Um, and I felt spirit came to me and showed me I can go this way. And it was a beautiful valley and flowers and hills. And I knew in my heart that that was heaven. Or you can go this way. And it was dark and mucky and fiery and everything was burnt. And I knew that was earth. And I swear this happened. And I got to make the decision, the choice do. And so of course I was like, no, like I'm going to fight through this because I believe in reincarnation. I ain't coming back to redo this for my
Yeah.
lessons.
No.
I'm
Right.
doing it now,
Yeah.
and I can't, like, so I picked the hard way and I just zapped out of it. I was like, okay, I just made that decision. So I'm curious, like, what would have happened? Like, would I have got in a car accident? Like, how would I have died? But yeah, so
It
and
feels like you went down the road of acceptance, is what it feels like for me, because acceptance would be accepting the situation you're in. And then when you have that level of acceptance that you can accept into your body, then what happens from the level of acceptance is then all the other things will start to show up to show you the signs of the road that you really need to take. When we fight acceptance of what is, that's when things get even harder, right? That's often where like depression will show up for people. It'll be really hard because they don't want to accept kind of what's happening. And acceptance doesn't mean it feels good, by the way. It can feel really uncomfortable to have a level of acceptance with our life and what's going on. But that level of acceptance gets you to a place of going, okay, this is hard for me right now, but, and there's an angel feather coming through here. This is really hard for me, but I'm willing to see where this is going to take me because there's like it feels like a real beautiful evolution. And how has this helped your business, like as an animal pet psychic? Like how do you feel like this is helping you maybe even evolve or grow from that standpoint as a business owner as well?
I don't know if I know that answer yet.
Yeah, okay, that's
I don't
fair.
know, but I know that
Yeah,
something will come out of that, and when I figure it out, I'll message you.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
beautiful to know, to say like, I don't know, that's an inquiry that could, come at a later time for sure. And so what are your next steps here? So like where are you living right now? Like in Jasper at someone else's
Yeah,
home,
so my
right?
mother-in-law's condo,
Okay.
survived. All the condos
Okay.
around here survived. We're the only, like,
Wow.
unit, and then you look over there, and it's all destruction.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, she moved out. She moved her and her partner, they moved into the temporary housing units.
Okay.
So that was very gracious of them to give us their space.
Yeah.
It would have been too tight for us with our dog and Earth Kitty and um
Yeah.
yeah,
What
yeah,
are these?
it's a trailer. They're trailers. And we
Yeah.
went over there for dinner the one day and I was like, oh my God, Cole, like we would not be able to make this work. Like
Yeah.
we'd go crazy. Yeah, so that was very nice of them to give us their
Yeah.
space. while we navigate this, because being here is important for me after that Lake Louise experience when I like threw up in the bathroom,
Yeah.
from stress and pain of my land. I know my heart belongs here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, yeah. So what are you doing for just care for yourself through all of this?
So, this has been big for me is meditating and surrender.
Mm,
Um, I literally said to God, okay, I surrender. Just let's do this. And I spent um 2 weeks. So we lived in a hotel in town back in the fall, and I also work at the Banff Wellness Retreat. So
okay.
doing readings, and it was my first time
Hmm.
working for them at the end of October. And I was like, I'm teaching and talking on stage in front of over 100 people. I'm like, I need to feel strong going into that area. So for
Yeah.
2 weeks when we were in that hotel, and it was our first time where we could like have a breath, like we're not moving
Yeah.
every day, they had a nice fire. I was looking out on nature, the side of town that didn't burn. And so I took 2 weeks and I just meditated, went within, really try to heal from inside out,
Hmm.
um, which is not easy to do. I really just honored everything I was feeling.
Yeah.
Um, I would meditate, walk my dog, and have a bath every day.
Mm,
Lie in a bath with candles.
yeah.
Because also I had to reinvent my relationship with fire. That was
Mm,
big. So I had to embrace fire by sitting around candles.
interesting.
Yeah. So I would have a bath with
Yeah.
candles, and I'd meditate and go within.
Yeah.
And
That's really
that's what
beautiful.
really helped me.
Yeah. That's really beautiful for you to be able to, I'm always about helping people see a different perspective of what they're going through, but you were able to see that for yourself that here the flame didn't feel good because of the experience. But I don't want to like ignore it. I don't want to, it's part of the world, right? And I used to love. So how do I get back to it?
Yeah, and I can't
Right?
remember who it was, but told me that they're like, no, you gotta start that relationship with with fire. Like fire is
Yeah.
life. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, and
yeah.
that's a beautiful word to use to describe that as well, is like having a relationship with it. Like that's
Hmm.
beautiful. And having relationships aren't always easy, right? Sometimes we have to evaluate it, we have to look at it and be compassionate with a different lens. So
Yeah,
that's a
and
really
also
beautiful.
like with that too, like the one day I was crying and Colin's like, now what? Like, why are you crying? I'm like, my feelings are hurt. And he's like, from who? What did I do? I'm like, not you. And I'm like, Mother Earth. My
Mm,
feelings, like I was so upset. Like I felt
mm,
Mother Earth hated me, and
mm,
didn't and was mad at me. And like, that sounds crazy. I know, but when you're going through this craziness,
yeah,
you feel all the feels. And I had to reestablish
yeah,
trust with Mother Earth too,
yeah. Well,
and be like, this is
that's not
your.
crazy. Don't say that. That's not crazy. It's really not. You are allowed to experience what you're allowed to experience because you're experiencing it. Full stop, really. And I get it. So, and I think that I can see how that can be a thing that can surface for people. Like, why not? I mean, some people when they have the fight with the higher power too. There's also that, right? So it's a very similar theme. People go through that as part of the grief, the anger part, or the feeling shameful, or why does that thing hate me, or why did I deserve this? It's just like it's a normal cycle we go through of the emotions when we're navigating something like this.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
yeah,
And
thank you for
like
sharing that.
I was my grandmother, she never liked this type of work, being a medium. Um, it's the devil's work and all that stuff,
Yeah.
very Catholic. But it wasn't until after she passed away 6 years ago that I found out she was a medium, a closet medium. hiding in the closet.
Yeah.
So ever since her passing, she's always around me, and she comes into readings and says,
Mm,
"Tell Jamie I'm proud of her," all this stuff. And so she's like my advocate over there. So when the fire happened as well, I was like, "Grandma, like, where are you? Like, help, help, help." And wasn't
yeah.
hearing from her, nothing. And then my adjuster went and took a picture of my property for me. He's like, "Are you sure you want to see it? It's pretty bad." I'm like, "My house has been obliterated. Just send me the photo." Um, I don't know if you can see it. And in the photo, if you zoomed in, the only thing that survived was my grandma's two
Amazing.
teacups.
That's
Two
amazing.
teacups. I have
I
no
remember you
idea.
posting that. Like I
Yep.
do. I remember that posting that. That was
So
awesome.
one of these is my grandma, and the other one is my grandpa. Um, if you saw this in person, you wouldn't believe that these did not break, or there was a massive metal beam right beside it. Yeah, I can't. It was a sign. And she was
I love
like,
that.
"I'm here. I'm here."
Yeah. You might not know why I'm here. Like she's probably navigating the bigger picture here that you can't see yet, right? That
Yeah.
thing that I feel for you, I feel that thing for you. Um, it's not my place to say anything more about it, but that's what I feel like there is something for you on
Well,
like it
if you have the answer,
well,
please tell me.
I'll tell you what it feels like is like the golden ticket. You know, Will Charlie in the chocolate factory and getting the golden ticket to it feels like it's going to be an adventure that you've never really been on yet. That is going to be the most wildest ride, but it's going to be very good for you, like very joyful. But um, sometimes to get to that point, it's not always easy. And I mean, I call my business Love Your Journey for a reason, right? It's we have to learn to find the tiny moments of hope and joy along the way, even in the hardest times. And that leads us to the next step, to the next step. It's not like if we're always seeking the destination, life gets really, really hard. But if we can just observe, like in the moment, and it, comes back to what you said at the beginning. I think the words were be grateful for what you have. It's very similar to that. It's like being grateful for the experiences you experience every single day that bring you joy. So even if your land experience has changed, I bet you're still observing things in a like almost like a brand new way, in a very different way on that land. I can imagine because there's going to be some sort of regrowth at some point. But it's still so shocking. I think even a year later, it can be just still shocking to have things swiped away like that. Um, so
Yeah,
give yourself.
everything that is standing, we're so grateful for, because again, we thought everything was gone.
Yeah,
Everything. And, one of my friends, she said, and before like we were able to come back here, she said, "But we got to think about it like this. The mountains are still there and the lakes are still there. The trees will regrow." So I was like, okay, that really helped me too. Um, so I think from going from bottom of the barrel to like, oh my God, something is still standing, really helped
yeah,
me
yeah,
find the gratitude in seeing life,
yeah,
and like, hey, there's a green tree. Awesome. 'Cause something is still here.
yeah. Well, I think you've gone through a lot, and I'm kind of excited to see what happens the next year or two for you, just going through this. But I wanted to kind of open the invitation up to just share a little bit about what you do as a pet psychic medium. So if anybody is interested in that, if they wanted to reach out, where would they and find you? What is the things that you help individuals with their animals, and kind of what's your jam? What do you like to
Yeah.
do?
Awesome. I do work with people too, but my niche is I'm focusing on animals. But yeah, so I connect with animals in the living and those who have passed on. I find, animal grief is such a severe thing, and it's not fully recognized in our society. We're expected to get out of bed the next day, go back to work, just get a new dog because it was just a dog. Um, I find that extremely difficult and unfair.
Yeah,
So I've really focused on animal mediumship, showcasing to connecting with your animals who have crossed over and giving you the hope and comfort and knowing that your relationship with them still exists. So Yeah, so I'm an animal medium, and then I work with animals in the physical. So, if you just want to understand your pet more, or if there's a behavioral issue, or you're, either a rescue and you want to understand them deeper in order to help them, yeah, so I do that as well. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok at Jaime Breeze, but my name is spelled Jaime. People always spell that wrong, Jaime Breeze. So yes, hit me up.
Awesome. I really appreciate you being here. I mean, it's not easy to share a story like this. And as you share this and as we close the conversation, have a bath, have some water,
I don't
take some
have a
time for you.
bath anymore.
Oh, well,
They don't have a bath
If you come
here.
to Calgary, you can have my
I
bath.
know. I go to my friend's house and use her kids' bathtub, so I always have baths with like rubber
Oh,
ducks now. I know that's the one thing. Like
I
I
get that.
miss.
No, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I really understand that. So maybe somebody out there listening can gift you a hotel room with a
Oh my god.
bathtub every like once a week.
Please. Yeah,
That'd be kind of fun.
I know.
Um, yeah, well, I know this is not easy for anybody to share a traumatic story like this, but I really felt like this is something to share to tell people that what it was like from being right into that experience, not just from the observer standpoint for one of the people that had to run out, tried to
Yeah,
run,
and
but had to, be stationary for a long time. So,
yeah, and because this is now a new normal, we 400 more structures were lost last week throughout Saskatchewan and Manitoba.
yeah.
When the news stops, you're put on the back burner, your old news, because something else is there.
Mm,
Even as a national park, and we thought we were protected, we feel we're on the back burner. We're not getting the help we need. No one has started rebuilding because there's so much red tape. So please, if you know anyone who's gone through a natural disaster and has lost everything, like the trauma doesn't stop after you're let back into your community. It lingers and it goes, and the
yeah.
mental toll it's had on our community is awful. So yes, for anyone listening, because it's not on the news anymore for certain areas, it doesn't mean it's over. We're all in
Yeah.
it.
And I think that's true for every single thing. People, when it's not in the forefront, people forget and they
Yep.
still don't realize that you might be suffering. And so, some things that I recommend in terms of that is just ask, do you need a meal? Do you want to send them a gift card? Is there something that you could provide that just helps take the load off, whether somebody's caregiving or whether they're in the fire? Do they
Yes.
need clothes? Is their kids growing? Do their pets need something? There's even a year later, somebody could still offer something for me in the grief that I've had to deal with, but it's not always remembered because it's not in the news. It's not and so that's just a constant reminder. And the biggest thing you can do is just sometimes when people are in that trauma, they don't know how to answer the question. They really don't. If somebody was to say to you, what do you need? You would have been like, I don't know. So just simple things, food, shelter,
Yeah.
clothing,
Yeah.
um,
People, yeah.
time to take your animals in, even for like a moment to yourself. Uh,
Yeah. And people need
you
money
know,
right away. Like
mm,
insurance is so slow.
yeah.
People need money. So anyone who's just lost in Saskatchewan or Manitoba, like that's what go on someone's GoFundMe. Look up a GoFundMe or
Mm,
something like that. People need the cash right now. Um,
mm,
for food, for
yeah,
lodging, for a pair of socks. People need money instantly during these traumas.
yeah. It's very true. Very true. That's a really good reminder. So yeah, if there's any links that I'll share them in the show notes for anybody to be able to donate, to look for your content if they want to reach out to you further. And yeah, if anybody has any other questions in regards to this and want to hear more, or you want to speak to Jaime further, just yeah, get to her contact information. And I just really appreciate your time. And I hope that things get a little bit easier for you. I'm always here to listen if you need a listening ear. And, uh, you know, I'm excited to see what your animals will do through this journey as well. That's a whole other podcast we could talk about, is what the animals are doing through this, because they're also going through it, right? So
Yeah, yeah, I'm open to that. Working with your animals through trauma and evacuation is really important.
yeah, so maybe we'll do that in a couple weeks. I'm moving into a new home finally after being on the go for a year. So I'm excited to stabilize down. So I can't even imagine, like, I just know a snippet of what you're going through, and it doesn't feel good for me to not have a home. So, and mine didn't go up in flames, right? So I've really gravitated to your story for a long time, and I feel really honored that you shared this with me. And I look forward to having you again, speak about the animals a little bit more, and have people get to know
Mhm.
you a little bit more. So
Awesome. I'd
thanks so
love
much,
that.
Jamie. Yeah, I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate. Thanks, everyone. Be kind. Lots of love, everyone.